Yeah, man. Hold on for a minute. Let's just get right for a minute, man. Checking my Facebook
Purchase
page
your tracks today.
and my Instagram page and my Snapchat page. We'll get it back.
See you flossing on Instagram, stay posted on Facebook.
It's the I See What You're Doing podcast. I'm Mr. I See What You're Doing, and as always, I see what you're doing.
And as always, just when you thought it was safe to go outside, our president put us at war. You got to mix emotions about what the war is about, but I'm sure that it's not about what they say it's about. It's with Iran. And if you have been so busy in the world, you forget that. America has been dealing with Iran for quite some time. That relationship has been shaped by a revolution, covert operations, military strategy, and global power politics. I want you to bear along because I'm going to take the time machine. I'm going to show you, walk you from right about 1953 up until the point that we're at now. Take into account the previous wars that we've had a few wars, and there's been so much money that was spent. But as you consider that money is being spent on a war, you have to consider that people make money off wars. It's got to be one of the biggest revenue creators in the world. And you have numerous companies that produce military weapons. Most of them would be in the U.S., but they are spread out around the world. There's conflict between Iran and the United States stretches back 70 years. Just remember, 70 years. And a complex mix of all, this is the thing, be careful, everyone is saying it's a complex mix of oil politics, Cold War strategy, revolutions, secret arms deals, and regional power, right? As well as struggles in the Middle East. So, as I said before, we're going to time machine. Go back and examine full timeline. We're going to take a look at the early decisions that shaped the relationship between the two countries. The moments when cooperation turned to confrontation, and the political and economic forces that continue to shape this conflict today. Right. Now, when you start connecting events from 1953 to a secret arms deal, the tensions between the military, you'll begin to realize the history of the United States and Iran is far more complicated than the headline suggests. Sometimes when you follow the timeline closely enough, you'll start saying, I see what you're doing. Let's get into it now. By the way, I want you to stay close because I was asked not to. I was advised not to, but it's public record. So I'm going to give you guys some information on some of the elected officials. We drop into some of the dealings with their with the Defense Department and committees, and also with the dealings with these defense contracts and the companies that make the weapons that we use during war. So let's start out first with a 1953 coup. In 1953, Iran had a democratically elected prime minister named Mohammad Mossadegh. Mossadegh nationalized Iran's oil industry, taking control away from foreign companies that had dominated Iranian oil production. So here we see the first thing that comes into play. You have a elected official who sees someone else controls the resources in our country. And I'm going to take control of that back because no one should control it. 1953. Western governments viewed this move as both an economic and geopolitical threat. During the Cold War, the United States and Britain feared instability in Iran might open the door for the Soviet influence in the region. So they're taking it back and they're thinking that Russia might get a chance to control Iran's oil as well as control the oil that's in Russia as well. A covert intelligence operation ultimately removed Mossad from power and restored authority to Shah Mohammad Reza, who ruled Iran with strong Western support for decades. So therefore, they took out a president and then they replaced that president with a mole, per se, or someone who would play the game, right? And as you Joe said, one, where are you getting your facts? Two, how are you FCC approved to talk about this information, sir? That's a good one, Joe. This is these are historical facts. And I don't necessarily know that I need to be approved to talk about any of this information because this particular information is public knowledge. Right? So if you put it on the internet or wherever you put it at, or wherever I'm getting my facts from, remember, public knowledge. I'm just giving you back what was already written in the history books. Per the case, they want to erase history. But let's continue. I appreciate you, Joe. Shout out to Joe, man. Joe, shout out to Joe. So they took out one elected official and put in someone that they could dictate to on how to conduct business in Iran, and then get support from from the West, United States and Western continent for decades. So 1953 CIA-backed coup removed Iran's prime minister. That's one fact. Iran possesses about 10% of the world's oil reserves. That's a lot of oil reserves to possess, 10%. And three, Shah ruled Iran until the 1979 revolution. So why does this happen? Cold War fears and oil interests drove Western intervention. We need that oil. Remember, Afghanistan, Iraq, it may have been said on the news that you were going in there to do one thing. You want that oil. We know that because we see in modern day time right now what our government is doing. And when they got the oil from South America, you get it? And what does this mean for people who are listening right now? It means that for Iranians, that coup became a symbol of foreign interference. And we literally go into other countries and dictate how the country's supposed to be run. For us installing a president in South America that was not the president before, because they're more pliable to the system. They're more pliable to what is they're more pliable to what's going on. You get it? They're more pliable to and more likely to go along with what the outside plan is, instead of taking responsibility for your own country and running your own diplomacy or your own diplomatic infrastructure. So here we are in 1953, knowing that at that particular point, we have a situation where our government was involved in Iran before going to war in 2026. Now, what we want to talk about next is the relationship, the first arms relationship with Iran. So after that coup, Iran became one of the United States' closest allies in the Middle East under Shah. Iran built a strong military relationship with the United States and purchased large amounts of American weapons, including fighter jets, tanks, radars, and missiles. By the 1970s, and Joe said you should like the CIA. By the 1970s, Iran had become one of the largest buyers of U.S. weapons in the world. Joe also said you must be one of those paid agitators. Your facts are tainted. Absolutely not, Joe. Absolutely not. I don't believe that my facts are tainted. I'm looking at it. This is what I do research. And I challenge anyone to come here and talk to me about it. I'm always open to someone coming on my show and having a dialogue with me about this. I don't try to agitate anyone. I try to educate people that exist in a place where life is so busy that you don't have an opportunity to collect this information, or you're being spoon-fed so little of the information to where you can't make an informative decision, or realize that this game that's being played has been going on for so long. So, with that being said, no, I mean, I don't know that these particular things are tainted. I know that historically, that we live in a place where the government is trying to change history. Before you can go back and look and see that the history that we're living up under is not the truth. We have space right now where the United States is getting ready to celebrate 250 years of history, American history. They went to war back then, and 250 years later, we've been thrown into a war that may not end until after that celebration. It's not me. That's just the way the thing pans out. You get it? But let's go home. Let's go move forward. Shout out to Joe, man. I appreciate you, Joe. Before I do that, if you would answer, what about my information is tainted? Because this is an episode that's going to that could get tricky in the end. I mean, we at the top of the rabbit hole, but I promise you we get ready to die. But if you would, since you're listening, could you point out the specific thing that sounds tainted with the information that I'm getting? We'll wait for Joe to answer that way. Iran became one of the largest buyers of U.S. weapons in the world. The caveat from that to move to the side for. This is not propaganda post, Joe. Joe said the information about Iran is inaccurate. Those are propaganda posts. No, sir. No, sir. No, sir. We just showed you the coup. I'm getting ready to go into it. I'm walking you through the time machine, sir. I'm walking through the time machine. And just to be clear about something, remember when there was that thing being said that the United States had trained Afghanistan back around 9/11, when it was like those particular Taliban soldiers had been trained by the United States. And Saddam Hussein and Afghan people had a relationship with the United States and the military. If you ever think about that particular statement, we never go back and look at how we got to this point that we're at now. We never go back and think about where we are now. It's just like if you go into history right now. No, sir, Joe. No, sir. I'm going to give it to you, Joe. I'm telling you, Joe. Just hang tight. Joe said the U.S. has never had any deals with Iran for weapons. We have always considered that country a hostile country. Hang tight, Joe. I'm going to tighten it up for you. I promise you at the end of it, I'm going to wrap it up and put a nice little bow on it. Feel me? I promise you. You just stick with me. I know that you looking at it right now, you feeling like I'm attacking the United States, and I'm not. What I'm doing is being an advocate for the American people, and that's just not people that look like me. That's for the American people that told me. Because a lot of people are so caught up in their days, so caught up in work, dealing with the kids and all that stuff right there. All you have is the news to go look at. This particular information right here that's coming out right now. It's not privy to everyone, because a lot of people don't have the patience to go and look into it like that. You only go by what the news says. You only go by what the news presents right now. Joe said, I feel like you're trying to incite a riot or going to report to Facebook. Absolutely not, Joe. Just hang tight, bro. I'm not trying to incite a riot, bro. These are real life conversations that we having right now. It's not these are not fictitious conversations. This is exactly what goes on in the world. You have people that won't vote because their vote doesn't count. And I'm inciting a riot. Let me give you my disclaimer. People, when you get this information, don't go out and riot. You feel me? Don't go and tell the streets and none of that. Don't go on January 6th. Don't go to the Capitol of the United States or any other capital and be angry about anything that's going on. You feel me? There's a proper way for you to do it. You feel me? You got elections coming up. You can voice your opinion to your state representatives and all of that stuff. None of it requires violence. So that's my disclaimer. Don't go out and do nothing reckless and ruin your life or anybody else's life. Don't go and put nobody in jeopardy. You feel me? Don't go out and because you don't agree with what somebody's saying, you go and you physically harm that person or shoot that person, and now they're not here anymore. Because nobody needs to be ostracized or attacked for their opinion, or because they're giving out information. But in the 1970s, Iran became the largest buyer of U.S. weapons. Billions of dollars of arms were purchased, and Iran operated advanced U.S. fighter jets and missile systems. Why? Because the U.S. wanted a strong regional ally during the Cold War. And what does that mean? That means the military partnership later turned into geopolitical rivalry. You still with me, Joe, man? Don't listen. If you're gonna report something, man, wait till the end of it, Joe. Don't report it right now. You feel me? But then again, shout out to Joe, man. Let me get this to the people. You should probably get your notepad and write some of it down. So if you don't report it to Facebook, you could actually tell me some of what I said. But again, clearly, not trying to incite a riot or upset anyone. I'm just trying to educate people on the history in the relationship between Iran and the United States, because it has not always been a bad relationship. Just because they make it look like a bad relationship now doesn't mean it's always been that way. The United States has not always had a bad relationship with Russia or China or any other country. People disagree sometimes. Here, you feel me? Let's move on to the Iran, the 1979 Iran Revolution. Public dissatisfaction with Shah's rule during 1970s economic inequality, political repression, and resentment toward foreign influence contributed to widespread unrest. In the 1979, the Iran Revolution forced Shah to leave the country and created an Islamic Republic by Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini. Soon after, Iranian students seized the U.S. embassy in Tehran and held American diplomats hostage for 444 days. Does that sound a little bit more in the area where you wanted me to go, Joe? Because I know you wanted to say, I said I've taken sides with Iran, but that's not how that works. So, in 1979, there was a 444-day hostage crisis. 52 American diplomats were held hostage. And Shah ruled Iran for 26 years after that coup in 1950. Why did that happen? Because political repression and resentment towards foreign influence fueled that revolution. And what does that mean? That means that the revolution transformed two allies into long-term adversaries. So at this particular point in 1979, this is where things begin to turn, because Shah is not in office anymore, and Islamic rule has come to Islamic Republic has come to Iran. Get it? But stick with me, because, as I said, I have a whole lot of stuff to put up. But if somebody catches up with Joe, man, make sure Joe gets that. You feel me? I still want to know he's sticking with me. And then we have history in the 1980s. And during the 1980s, remember Iran-Contra? That was a secret arms deal, right? We know about Iran-Contra, right? If you don't, just hang tight. Told you, time machine, we going through. Just hang tight, we're going to get to. But Iran and the United States had a secret arms deal. During the 1980s, the United States government secretly sold weapons to Iran in what became known as the Iran-Contra affair. Here's the question. As I pause right here, and I want to give you some, because Joe had specifically said that I was trying to incite a riot, and that the United States has always been that Iran was these terrible people. And if that be the case, if that be true, then Joe, I'm trying to figure out why this here deal came into play. Why would the United States secretly, if they were saying that Iran was the enemy, secretly have a deal with Iran to sell weapons to Iran? Right. I'll tell you why. That operation Joe said, U.S. citizens, this is not a man you should listen to. The data is very tainted. Please contact your local government for the correct answers to this war. We're not talking about the war yet. We haven't gotten to the war yet, Joe. We have not gotten to the war yet. Well, we have gotten to it this way. What we gotten into is an idea that the United States people should not be misled anymore. And you should be on my side with that. Unless you're not a U.S. citizen and you just came on my podcast to agitate me. But you can't get me like that. You know, you can't get me like that. I'm giving you historic facts. And if you don't, and if what I'm saying is tainted, all you're able to say is that it's tainted, but you are not giving me factual evidence to combat what I'm saying. You're not giving me factual evidence to combat what I'm saying. You're just saying that it's tainted because, I mean, sometimes the truth hurts. Okay? Who wants to believe that they fight with each other, they friends, bro? Iran and the United States have always been cool with each other. I tell you, I don't get my way, and now I got to do something like that. And if they were such bad people, why haven't the previous presidents been at war with Iran? Shit, man, y'all listen. I'm not here to give you because I'm an elected official in Florida, or I work for one. Well, what riot charge, sir? Well, what riot charge? What riot charge am I going to be in trouble for? Do I not have the right to freedom of speech? Isn't this the same thing that journalists do? Anyway, so the operation was aimed to watch this. Operation was aimed to get hostages released that were held in Lebanon. Some proceeds from the arms sales were secretly redirected to support rebel forces in Nicaragua, creating a major political scandal when the program became public. Now, Joe, if you there, was that not a Iran-Contra scandal? Is that not historical fact? Was that not a Iran-Contra scandal? Right. 1985, 87, Iran-Contra. 1985 through 1987, Iran-Contra scandal or operations. Missiles were sold to Iran, and funds were redirected to rebels in Nicaragua. Officials believe that secret negotiations could free hostages. And the scandals reveal how complex international politics can be. So, as I move forward, I got 3 more weeks. 1, 2. I got a little bit more to go, man, but I wanted to stop here and say this right here, bro. many a times I have said that people can come here, right, and speak to me on this show. Nobody showed it. All I ever get is messages and people like from Facebook and other places that say uh, that what I say has the ability to cause a riot, right? But I've heard the statement, white men fight back. So what are you fighting back? Who are you fighting back? You feel me? Everything that looks like a distraction is not a distraction. We want to finish up this, and then next week I'm going to come back with part 2. But let me just be clear about this. When you consider that your constitutional rights are being attacked, I ain't folks that said, fuck him, this is your show, we come to listen to you. I'm not worried about dude, bro. You feel me? You get a troll here and there all the time, bro. You feel me? I literally tell them people, man, public officials and all, bro, you come on this show and talk about anything. All you gotta do is reach out to me. You see that email at the bottom of that shit? You come in here and talk about anything, bro. The problem that you have, most people now, is you don't, you're so blinded by it. You're so blinded by what you're being told, and you're not willing to do the research that it takes to get this, to find out if this shit true or not. You go by whatever somebody tell you. You feel me? Caught you, Joe. I caught you, bro. That's not a riot because somebody's speaking their voice, bro. Joe said, can you put that back up? Joe said, see, look at your listeners attack me instead of tell their side. Bad show. You a troll, Joe. You came to play. And I appreciate you for coming to play, bro. That was beautiful what you just did. You came to play. What that man stated was, pop your shit, Mr. I see what you're doing. You're on the right track. You feel me? That's what he was doing. He wasn't talking. I'm pretty sure that you didn't say it, fuck somebody. You came on my show and said, I'm reporting you to Facebook without hearing the whole story, without having historical facts. I'm not attacking you, bro. Riots. Is that the fear? Riots? Because at this particular point, nobody has rioted. Nobody's rioting. Hell, nobody's really saying nothing. There ain't no attack on you, man. Not on you or any other public official. You know the people that attacked y'all was the same. The people that attacked y'all look like y'all. Because I have to assume at this particular point, you feel me, that if you came on here to play that type of game, you don't agree with me because you need I said, or would you verify? Are you an American? Are you an American citizen in the United States that look like me? Are you of the same ethnic background as I am? Because if not, then that says a lot about why your viewpoints are so one-sided and you don't want to hear the truth because the truth hurts. You feel me? Or why else would you want to erase Black history from American history? When I said last week, it's all intertwined. American history is Black history. It's not 100 years old. It's 250 years old. As well as American Indian history and everything. It's all intertwined. You feel me? So since you were sent here, by someone to check me out. Just hang tight, go and check me out. I got love for everybody. I can't really give a message. And I'm talking about you listen, you. It's American history, bro. Joe said, why does it matter? Why does my color matter? This is not American history. This may be Black history, though, or some form of history. Your color matter, bro, because you showed up on my podcast and you came in with negative energy. You know what I'm saying? I could tell you what it sounds like. Oh no, I'm stereotyping. Listen, bro. Listen, bro. Do you want to come on the show? Do you have the capability to show your face on this show? And say what you gotta say, or are you just a keyboard talent? Move along. Decades of escalating tension after the Iran-Contra tension between the United States and Iran continued to rise. Economic sanctions, disputes over Iran's nuclear program, and regional conflicts created an ongoing geopolitical rivalry. In 2020, the United States. I'll be back next week for sure. Joe said this show probably won't be here next week. Hope you enjoyed the last one. Shout out, Joe. I'll be here next week. I'll be here next week. Are you okay? Are you okay? And are you in agreement with someone muffling my Second Amendment, my right to freedom of speech? Are you okay with it? Is that going to be good for you to say that? And if that's the case, then you're going to prove another point that I wanted to make, that there's an attack on freedom of speech. You feel me? There's an attack on the Constitution and the ability for you to operate under the constitutional rights afforded to every American citizen. Is that the stance you want to take? That you are okay with somebody telling me what I can say, when I can say it, what my opinion is? Proceed. In 2020, the United States killed Iranian General Qasem Soleimani in a drone strike, and Iran responded with a missile attack on U.S. bases in Iraq. Key points was 2020 drone strikes killed at Qasem. Iran launched missile attacks on the U.S. bases, and Iran has faced decades of sanctions. Both countries increasingly view each other as threats. The United States and Iran both now consider each other to be threats. And that cycle of confrontation deepened mistrust between those two countries. Right? So I'm waiting on a response from you, Joe. I'm waiting on a response from you. Please. So here we are. And I want to start right here because we are in the country, man, where gas prices have gone up. We're in the country where food prices have gone up. Livable wages have not gone up. People are struggling to make ends meet. Right? The national deficit has went up. And a whole lot of other crazy shit, right? That has just been happening that people are okay with. Right? American people are okay with. Republicans are okay with. Trump supporters are okay with. There have been 2 government shutdowns in the run of 6 months. I'm going to have to do a part 2 to this. So, Joe, come back next week, man. Don't leave me just yet. Modern warfare is deeply connected to the global economic system. When you go to war, there's a lot of money that gets made and a lot of money that changes hands. That's going to be part 2 because I'm going to finish this and then I'm going to get out y'all with. There are a lot of defense companies and manufacturers that create aircraft, missile, satellite, surveillance technology that are used by modern militaries. Do I need to mention the company? Sure, I will. Companies like Lockheed Martin, RTX, Boeing, Northrop Grumman, and General Dynamics receive billions in U.S. defense contracts. Now, mind you, there's nothing wrong with this. There's not wrong with a manufacturer creating something that's used to protect. Iran has always had a nuclear program. So at this particular point, it would never have not ever made sense that in this particular case that there was a necessary need to go to war right now. Like, remember, I'm one of the people that come on and tell you prior to this that we're gonna end up in a war in the place that we're not supposed to be. Because, and they're not gonna tell you everything that you need to have on the news. It's a war. U.S. strikes, Iran strikes something. They attack someone. Innocent people lose their lives. That's the thing that we keep forgetting and leaving out. Since September 11, 2001, the U.S. military operation related to the war on terrorism has cost more than $8 trillion. When long-term costs are included. Sometimes you have to be diplomatic enough to be able to say, hey, let's try to talk it out and come up with a solution other than putting people's lives there. And remember in 2001, the comfort level. When those planes crashed into those buildings and killed all those people. When they hit the Twin Towers. We have a whole bunch of things that need to be addressed in this country, and there's not enough money to go around to deal with AIDS patients, and we don't have enough money that go around to deal with the homeless problem in America, or making sure that people have a livable wage. But our United States government has $8 billion to $9 billion budget year. Post 9/11 wars were estimated at $8 trillion. And the top defense contractors receive billions annually. Why does that happen? Modern military require advanced technology and large budgets. I agree with that. You can't go with the old all the time. So, and military spending influences global economics and politics. So, but I had a conversation with somebody who told me that China and Japan and some other countries had laser guns that disintegrate you. I don't know whether that's true, but I mean, I couldn't put it past because technology in those countries advanced so fast it could possibly be true. But I saw a video because I watched the attacks the military attacks like everybody else. I'm interested in the military attack. I watched the military attack, and somebody let off a bomb somewhere in Iran that didn't ignite until explode until it almost hit the ground. It almost was on the ground before it imploded. Remember, you got innocent people involved in this, man. And we can't be big. We can't be so dead set on getting our point across to it too. That till we forget to take into account when we start these wars, the people that we're sworn to protect. This is a message for the world leaders everywhere. We can't forget that we have been elected and sworn to protect the people of these countries that we govern. You know what I'm saying? So the point being, Iran has not always been out here. Why this conflict continues, today's tensions between the U.S. and Iran involve nuclear negotiations, regional power structures, and decades of mistrust rooted in historical events. Now, I would almost go out and say that there was an agreement. Someone didn't hold up their end of the bargain. That's what mistrust seeped in. And then from that, it just got worse and worse and worse, like a bad relationship. And ego has got the best of it, and nobody ever came back to try to fix what had went wrong. But the reason why there's tension now, compared to when, let's say Bush era up through Obama and Biden, even though there may have been some kind of tension between Iran and the United States, it had not been like this. Right? And now it's like this. Kind of something that sound like that we take everybody guns, nobody can stop us type shit. Because Iran has a population of 88 million people. The Middle East holds 48% of global oil reserves. That's a little bit under half of the oil in the world concentrated to the Middle East. And we saw a lot of stuff in the Afghan and Iraq war that said we want that oil. And then we see where oil is being confiscated. And I revert back to what I said before. Nuclear situation. Iran has had a nuclear program for at least 20, 30 years, which had not been a problem, not a major problem at least. So that's the thing to be able to go into that country. The nuclear conflict. Another conflict with U.S. sanctions on Iran. It spanned decades, man. The U.S. sanctions on Iran spanned decades. I don't even know whether there's a president who did not put a sanction on Iran. Right? This happens over historical reasons. Something went wrong. We had a partnership. Something went wrong. Something fell through, and now we don't have a partnership. And now you used to be my friend, and now you're mine. And now we in competition because we have 40% of the world. And we know he who controls the oil is more valuable than gold. To me. But that's my opinion. And I just wanted to point out to you that what you're looking at right now is not a, I got some information here, man, just before I go I got some information that I'm going to bring next week because I'm running out of time, but the information I have next week, come back because it's going to be big out punch. And those particular conflicts are going to continue to go until someone finds a way to step in and mediate it and bring those countries together. You know, Iran's conflict with America was not developed yesterday. This is a true statement. It wasn't developed yesterday. Iran issues with the United States span back at least 70 years from where I started. 1953. We go back 70 years. But I mean, there's been issues with Russia for that amount of time, if not longer. China and Japan, people disagree. You feel me? But I don't know that the United States has invaded Russia or China or North Korea or any of those countries over their disagreements. Because those particular countries have nuclear programs. I'm not speaking up or standing on the side of anyone. I'm in a neutral place. Again, I came to tell the American people this message right here. Don't just listen to what you're being told. Use your mind to think about what you're being told and then fact check it. Like my friend Joe said, fact check. If you feel like the stuff that I said is not true or fictitious, if you feel like the stuff I said was tainted, I've given you enough information for you to go and research. You have a supercomputer in your phone, and you have a supercomputer in your hand. You have a phone at home you can use. Do the research on this stuff to make sure that you're informed. Not so you can go out and write it, because I'm not advocating for anybody to go out and write it. Not for you to go out and attack anyone, because I'm not advocating for anybody to go out and attack anyone. I'm telling you to do your homework on what you're being told. Do your homework on what you're being told. I mean, it's easy to be misled if you just continue to be led astray or misled. None of this was racially fueled, and I'm closing right now. None of this was racially fueled. History shapes the present in ways that are not always obvious. I could care less about your race right now, how you hearing it. I could care what color you are right now. I just wanted to ask Joe where his allegiance lies. You feel me? Because as far as anybody can go back and look at anything I've ever put up, I've been neutral. The only thing I have ever said is make sure that you hold your government accountable for the things that are happening in the country that you love so much. And don't be naive to think that just because they say this is what's happening, that possibly is what happened. We make a lot of jokes sometimes about what happens when we sleep and all of that shit. Somebody is not, they're not joking about what's happening in front of you. That's not a joke. I can respect, I understand this right here. And if you had just arrived here, remember this. I spoke to someone today who made me realize something. And I'm not going to applaud or think that I'm a threat or a problem to anyone. But you only pay attention to people who you deem to be on the right track with the information. So when you show up to this particular podcast, just remember something that someone mentioned on here. What he said was, I'm an elected official. And then he said, or I was sent by an elected official. So therefore, I had got up under someone's skin with the information I was given to the American people. He had sworn to serve it so bad. I had become such an interesting individual on this podcast that he was sent by someone, or someone brought me to his attention. My last name, I won't even tell you. Just know, I'm a public servant. I'm a journalist. I'm a podcaster. I'm a man who lives in the country that says we live by a constitution that affords me certain rights as a United States citizen. And today, on my show, if he was an elected official, I was threatened by the United States government. I'm not a professional. Joe said I'm a professional agitator, sir. Just because I'm speaking the truth doesn't mean that I agitate people. But Joe, on behalf of your United States government, impeded on my constitutional right. And if you're not going to go through all the podcasts in the world, we do all of them, and you showed up here to tell me that I'm a professional agitator. And with that being said, who did I agitate? It don't matter right now. But show back up next week, Joe, so you can tell me who I agitated. As always, man, you know how I do. Keep your eyes to the head, keep your eyes to the sky, keep your head on the swivel. Always recognize real, push fake to the side. And remember, I see what you're doing. I'm going to holler at you next week. Peace.
www.enter-effect.com for more info, beats, and designs. These beats available for $30 and exclusive beats starting at $150.
Make your next move. Your best move. Shawty, I'm with your girl, I do my do.